I'm very glad to be joined by Kaitlyn Ellis, PGA professional. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How's your day going?
It's going good. It's not 120 degrees, so we're doing much better now.
Nice. Yeah, I grew up in Arizona and I know what it can be like when it gets to like 110, 115.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
the dry heat and the humidity is not fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I introduced you as a PGA professional, but yeah, can you take the time to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I grew up in La Quinta, California, which we call like the Palm Springs area in the Coachella Valley. Born and raised here, absolutely loved it. Love, they call us a desert rat. So grew up here my entire life. Um, Played a bunch of sports growing up. I played basketball, I played softball, flag football. My mom made me do band, so I kind of got in all of it. And then started kind of joining golf around fourth grade. Um, no one in my family really plays golf, so it just kind of came to me. My grandma lives on a golf course at the club I currently now work at, and so that's kind of how I got started golfing, trying to hit golf balls over the water on the hole that she lived on. So got into golf that way and loved it from fourth grade on. Played high school golf, probably one of the best enjoyable 4 years of my life. Decided I wanted to play collegiate golf and ended up going to Fresno State. And I believe I'm the second player at La Quinta High School that ended up going to play college golf, which is an amazing accomplishment for me. Um, After 2 years, I got into a little back injury that I ended up not continue playing the last 2 years of my college golf experience. However, I decided to still stay at Fresno State. But then I decided that, okay, well, now that I'm not golfing anymore, like, I need to figure out, maybe do some work and stuff, or get a job, and I ended up working at a golf club in Fresno. That's kind of how I got into the golf business. Wasn't looking at doing that as a long-term vision for myself working in the golf business, but I ended up absolutely loving it. And the head pro that hired me is like, you actually can go to school for this and you can get, like a degree for golf. And if you want to be a general manager or a head golf professional or a teaching pro, there's so many different avenues. And I had no idea that that was the case. And after Fresno, I wanted to move back to the desert because my family's here, born and raised. So I wanted to be closer to them, even though I loved being in Fresno. I had family up there as well. I ended up moving back into the desert and got the coaching job at Palm Desert, got a job at Monterey Country Club, and kind of worked through my way through the golf business and worked my way up the ladder to being a head golf professional at Woodhaven for over 2.5 years. And now I'm back over at Monterey Club I used to work at. So it's been great.
Nice. Yeah, so currently you are the first assistant pro at Monterey Country Club in Palm Desert, California. Can you tell me a little bit about Monterey Country Club and what exactly a first assistant professional is?
Yeah, so Monterey is a really special club to me because I grew up there and a lot of the members have known me since I was little. And so it's very tight-knit family culture, and I really like that a lot. But also as the members have known me forever, which is makes it always makes you feel special being involved in a club like that. We have 27 holes, which is very unique. We have tons of golf. We have a really active membership that like to play 4 or 5 times a week. So they love golf. They are supportive of the pro shop staff. I'm very lucky to have a great head pro, Mike Feeney, who is amazing. And really, I try to be his right hand person as a first assistant, especially given my background being a head pro. I know what somebody needs in that position. So my job is to take as much as his load and help him with that. So tournaments, merchandise, member involvement, anything that has to do with golf, outside staff, supervising staff, hiring, training, teaching, I do it all. So that's kind of what my thing is. And I know that he's been looking for someone to help him with that. So when the opportunity kind of came up for me to go there, I took it it was like within 24 hours, everything kind of happened. And it's been great. And members are happy that I'm back there and looking forward to climbing up the ladder there and helping the membership grow and bring that member trust back to Monterey. And no, I absolutely love it.
Yeah. So as a first assistant pro, I'm interested to know, what are some of your daily, duties and responsibilities?
So it really depends on what's going on. Every club is different. There might be, you have private clubs, semi-private clubs, you have public, resort. So it depends on like the facility you are at. For us, we are at a private club. For me, that's what I like as a golf professional. I like the private club. I like the memberships. I like the member involvement. I love getting to meet the members, getting them to know me. That's the environment that I like. So I think it's important for people to know that every facility is different and what their needs are different. At Monterey, it's very, very heavily tournament involved. There's tons of groups, there's tons of tournaments. There's always things going on. So majority of my job is, tournaments, staff, anything else that Mike needs help with, I'm there. So it kind of depends on the facility you're at, but for me particularly, it's really involved with the members and tournaments for sure.
Yeah, and you touched on this a little bit, but you used to work at Monterey Country Club. So what does it mean to you to be back at Monterey Country Club? I'm sure a place that's really special to you.
Yeah, I was definitely, like I said, it happened really out of the blue. I knew in my heart that I wanted to be back there at some point of my life. I just wasn't sure when and what role that would be. And I had, with Woodhaven, I had other offers on the table, and Monterey was not on one of those offers. And I was referring people that used to work for me to Mike. And I was like, hey, these people are great. Like, if you need somebody, I know they would do well there. They would be great. And we ended up meeting when I came back from Texas after my PGA school. He goes, what do you think about, working here? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what? And so it happened within really fast. And it meant a lot. And he trusts me a lot to be there. And I know that he makes me feel like I'm just as equal, in a sense that going from a head pro to a first assistant, some people think, oh, that could be like a downgrade. And Mike has never made me feel that way, because he knows how much the members like me, how much I want to do a good job for them. And also, being a head pro, I know the pressure that he has and how I can help him with that. So it's been a really good adjustment, and I'm happy to be there. So I'm looking forward to being there this season and working my way up. So it's been great.
Nice. So prior to your return to Monterey Country Club, you were the head pro at Woodhaven Country Club for over 2.5 years, as you mentioned. How
Mhm.
did you end up as the head pro at Woodhaven Country Club? And can you sum up how your time at Woodhaven was?
Yeah, so Woodhaven will always be a place in my heart, because when you rebuild a club, there is no better accomplishment. One of my mentors in my life is one of my personal coaches, Joe Simons, who worked with me in high school, who's a PGA professional. And he used to work at Woodhaven, he used to be the general manager. And I saw the job posting, and I was like, what do you think if I applied for this? Like, what do you think? And there in the golf business, it's all about who you know. And luckily for me, people at Monterey knew people at Woodhaven. So when they kind of heard that I was thinking about applying, there were people there that, were kind of saying, hey, Kaitlyn Ellis might apply and you should interview her, and, all this stuff. And it really worked out to my benefit. And I ended up taking the job there. And, I knew the history of Woodhaven wasn't the best, and that happens with clubs a lot. And so I took that on as a challenge, that I could get there and make a club successful and better based on people that I know that will help me, or how I need to get there. And so my first year was completely rebuilding member trust. That's my biggest thing in the golf business. People who I hire, that's my biggest strength, is how can we make a place for people to love, and how do we get them to trust us to do our jobs? And that's one thing that club has not had before. And so when I got there and I wanted to do everything very hands-on and help and do what I could, the members just built this trust around me and our team and the culture we had in the golf shop. So it was great. And I had a phenomenal staff that I worked with, who are some of my good friends. And I know that I wouldn't have been successful at Woodhaven if it wasn't for them, because they believed in my vision and my goals, and they wanted to be a part of that. And so for me, I'm teaching people that are just as young as me. You know, I was 23 years old taking a head pro job. Like that's really unheard of. And so, and I'm hiring young people. So here, Woodhaven opening day, it's like all these young people. So for me, that's what I wanted because we wanted to be there involved with the members. But I was really proud that the staff who have worked for me are now going to continue their journey in the golf business, knowing the result of member trust and getting members to know you and engage with them, and how much more fun your job is coming to work because they want to be there, they want to help you. And so that's one of the best rewards I've got from Woodhaven, is rebuilding that culture there and also setting the bar extremely high. So my thing was, if I leave a facility, I want to raise the bar so high that the head pro that has to replace me or whoever replaces me has to work so hard because of all the good things myself and my team did there. And that for me was really important. So I'm extremely proud of the accomplishments we did at Woodhaven. The members there will always be a part of my family, and you never know what the future holds. I can always go back as a general manager. You know, you never know. But it was a great time, and I'm really proud of how much I accomplished there with the 2.5 years I was there.
Nice. You talked about you were a head pro at 23, which is very
Mhm.
impressive. So what did it mean to you to be a head pro, and what were some of your main job duties being a head pro?
Yeah, so it was, I'm very lucky to have an amazing group of pros, PGA pros, who have known me forever that I could call if I needed help. And I truly believe, and I would tell anyone this in the golf business, it's all about who you know, but who you surround yourself with. And I surround myself with really successful people that I knew that could make me better. And that's what, for me, I feel like that's why I was so successful at a young age, just because I was eager to learn from all the great pros that I had, especially Doug Hoffert, who was the head pro at Monterey, who I know, who I just absolutely admire. He's, in my opinion, one of the best pros I've ever known. And you know, I can call him anytime, and he's always there to help me. And so, and because I worked underneath him when I was first at Monterey, I felt really prepared because I knew that the things I learned from Doug would help me in this role. But I didn't feel like my age was um so much a red flag, or so much was I treated different, because for my age people thought I was like 30, 35. And so I was like, no, I'm actually 23. They go, oh my God, like they were like mind blown. So I kind of use that to my benefit, because these people thought like I was like their grandkid, so like they're not going to yell at their grandkid, you know. So that's kind of how my mentality was. But I oversaw the entire golf operations, from outside staff to merchandising to working with all the other department heads, food and beverage, accounting, grounds. So I did all the hiring. We did merchandising, tournaments, all member events. So anything golf related went through me. So like I said, we really rebuild Woodhaven, especially last year. There won't be a staff better, in my opinion, than what we had last year. So I'm extremely proud of, like I said, what I've done there the last 2 years, especially at such a young age.
Nice. So I want to get into your start in the game of golf. So, how did you end up playing the game of golf? How did you get started in it? What age did you begin playing? What are some early golfing memories you have?
Yeah, so like I said, nobody in my family really plays golf. So I started at Monterey, where my grandma lives, and I was about in fourth grade, and myself and our across the street neighbor from my grandma's house, her name is Carol, and she had a grandson named Michael, and he played golf. And so we were really close growing up, but we played football, we played all different sports. And at one time we were like, hey, we should play golf. So we found golf balls that my grandma would get into her yard, and we would try hitting them into the water just for fun. Like, we didn't know like that was bad. So, and that's kind of how we developed it. So technically I wouldn't be in golf if it wasn't for Michael, because that's kind of how I got started into it, and took lessons at Desert Willow Golf Academy with Paul Boosie, and kind of worked my way through it and played ever since, and played tournaments. And so I got started into it at a young age, but it wasn't like I was just kind of goofing around. It wasn't like a big passion until I started getting into like seventh or eighth grade to like, oh no, I like want to play high school golf and all the opportunities that it presented itself. So no, it's crazy how it works out. Like I said, I never would have thought that I would be my entire life would be around golf since I was in fourth grade. I never would have thought that at this time.
So you played high school golf at La Quinta High School, where you were a three-time team MVP and two-time Desert Valley All-League selection. Can you tell me a little bit about your high school golf experience and also what it was like to be the team captain during your senior year?
Yeah, no, high school golf, I feel like is the most important time of your life because I think it really sets you up for the future. And so it's kind of, as a coach, and I know we'll talk about that, it kind of changes my viewpoint a little bit. But I loved going to La Quinta. We had, when I grew up in the desert, it's a small area. Everybody knew each other, and it was very, very competitive between us and Palm Desert, and Xavier had some good players. So there were a solid, 30 girls that were, gonna go play Division I golf. So you're playing with girls up against Palm Desert who are extremely talented, and they're there to win, and you feel that when you play them that they're there to win. But it was really competitive. It was also really difficult because I would play good in a match, for example, but I would go in a match and shoot 38, and then someone from Home Desert would shoot, 36, and they get half a page article about them, and I didn't get recognized for anything. So it was definitely hard because it felt like we were the underdog school in a sense, to where like no one really cared about us because it was all about Palm Desert. And so that was hard because we the team that I had at La Quinta that I played on, we were forced to like work twice as hard to get some kind of recognition against Palm Desert. So but the girls that I had on the team, they were my best friends in high school. We were extremely close, and that's why I loved it. Even in the off season, we would play golf together. And winning MVP was amazing because we had an extremely competitive golf team for La Quinta. So I was really proud that I was able to be, my sophomore, junior, senior year, be able to compete and to be MVP. DVL was what it was called back when I played high school, was extremely competitive because you had 30 girls and you had 8 spots, and that 6 of those spots are going to be Palm Desert girls, so you're basically fighting for 2 spots. And so it was really competitive and a lot of pressure on yourself because you had, when we played Palm Desert or anything that Palm Desert was involved, there were so many people watching. You had the news there. I mean, it was really intense pressure when we played them. And so for me, I just had to be able to realize, like, let them do their own thing. I can't control what they're going to do, and to focus on myself. And I was really happy that I was able to go my sophomore, my senior year to DVL, but or to CIF to make it. But it was extremely competitive when I played high school golf.
So after high school golf, you then played collegiately at Fresno State. What drew you to attending Fresno State? You grew up over 300 miles away from Fresno State, so it wasn't like Fresno State was just down the road from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what drew you to Fresno State, and were there any other schools you were looking at attending, or were you pretty set on attending Fresno State?
So I knew I wanted to play college golf. We took a couple tours to other colleges, and I had other people reaching out to me. And it wasn't, college golf when I played is extremely different to how college golf is now. So when I played in high school, there were so many opportunities, open doors for women in golf. Nowadays, it's extremely competitive because you have a really heavy international base of kids who, they want to come and dominate college golf and be LPGA. That's not how it was when I was there. So there are so many more open doors for me and where I wanted to go. For me, I went to take a tour. I have family that lives up in Fresno, my mom's side,
Okay.
and went to go take a tour on campus, and I instantly loved it. I loved the atmosphere of the campus. I loved the culture. I loved the coach. And she was very similar to how Joe was when he was coaching me. So it just felt like a really good fit. And I knew that I wasn't phenomenal, but I knew that Fresno and Coach Lofton, who was my college coach, could take me to that next level, and it was amazing. And so I'm very lucky that I had the opportunity from her to be on that team and to learn from the other girls on their team who was it was competitive, but I was lucky that I had other options. And I was looking at Michigan, and I was like, well, do you want to play golf in the snow? And I'm like, not really, no. So it was one of those things, but I ended up going and I took a tour and met with them. It just felt really good. I had a really good positive feeling from that. And people tell me, when you get that feeling, it's the right fit. And I felt like that was the right fit for me. And I felt comfortable because I had family there. And that's why I ended up staying my whole 4 years and not transferring somewhere else.
Nice. Can you just sum up your college golf experience? What it was like to play college golf, and what it was like to represent Fresno State for your 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I love Fresno State. I mean, all my kids will tell you all I have is like Fresno State shirts, and everything I have that I own is Fresno State. So I rep Fresno State forever. Um, I loved college golf because you get to meet so many different people. Like I said, two of my really good friends coach college golf, Alyssa Waite, Mackenzie Rame. And so it opens up a whole new opportunities for you. And I loved the girls on the golf team that I got to play with. And I felt like my game really changed within, going from high school to college golf because of my college golf coach. But it meant a lot being a part of a team that, I made a difference of being there. Our team was really small. We had 7 girls. So it's pretty small for a college program. Looking at now, because there's some schools that have 13 girls on their program. So it was different. But I absolutely loved it. And you get to meet so many different people from all across, the nation. I mean, we had girls from Iceland, we had girls from New Zealand, from everywhere. So to get to meet different people and learn their backgrounds and what they do differently, what you do differently, was really exciting. But I have friends I keep in touch with, and people you meet in tournaments, and learning about them and where they came from. You keep in touch, and it was a really good adjustment for me, especially going to Fresno where it's colder, it's windy, and I'm not used to that in the desert. It's our winter time is like 70, so in there it's like 30. So it was a way different adjustment weather-wise for me. But I feel like that made me stronger in the long end when I could still compete within PGA tournaments. So, but I don't feel like I would be. I really feel like I grew a lot as a person moving away, going far away from home, and learning about myself and how I handle situations. And so it was some of the best 4 years of my life for sure.
I have to ask you, did you really major in criminology, victimology in college? And was your career goal really to be a special victims detective?
Um, Yeah, so it's so funny. I literally just talked about this with my kids because we were playing in a tournament, and one of them goes, Coach, what was your major in school? I was like, it was criminology. And they looked at me and they're like, are you kidding me? Like, that is like the most random degree for a golf professional. Um, but no, my dad worked in law enforcement, and there's something about, law that I loved. And I wasn't sure what avenue to take, and criminology was something I was more interested in at the time. And I learned, again, classes I took about psychology and, the world, and that really changed my perspective on a lot of things for myself. And I wouldn't really be too sure what avenue I would decide. A major with criminology is extremely rare. There's not a lot of, I want to say there's like maybe less than 50 college schools that offer criminology. It's very rare degree. And that's one of the reasons why I did not transfer to go somewhere else, is because they didn't have my major. So, and I did all the hard work for these classes, but I wouldn't really know what avenue I would take, because at the time I was so focused on PGA and doing that's all I wanted to do. And I was using my degree to fall back on if the golf business was not for me. So I wouldn't really be sure where I would be with the criminology degree. If I had to guess what I wanted to do with it, it probably have to do with something with more like a psychologist and, learning human behavior. That's something that really interested me, how people, handle situations and act. And that was something that I learned a lot about myself and stuff like that, and helped me in situations. And so that's kind of where I feel like I would be doing if I wasn't a golf professional.
So I'm interested to know, so you studied criminology in college, but how did you go from studying criminology to now becoming a PGA pro? Was there a specific time where you're like, you knew you wanted to be a PGA pro, or did you always know you wanted to be a PGA pro?
Um, yeah, I honestly, I don't even know like how that it just like happened. I ended up my senior year. I was working at Airways. That was the golf course I'd been at since my junior year. So I was there for 2 years. And I started learning about the PGA program and knowing that you can be a head pro and you can be all these different avenues. And I was like, oh, that sounds, really interesting because golf has always been my life. I mean, it's been with me forever. And so I didn't want to lose that part of myself where I didn't have golf involved with me at some point in my life. So I wanted to go into the PGA and do that to my senior year of college. And um, at that time, I wasn't playing golf a lot because I was working a lot. I was taking 21 units my senior year. I was insanely busy, so I was not golfing a lot. So I was preparing to take my playing ability test, which is the first thing you do when you get into the PGA, and that's 36 holes in one day. And the last time I played 36 holes in one day was my sophomore year of college. So I knew I was out of shape. So there was going to be no way I was going to go break this or, qualify for the PGA to shoot a target score. So I started working with, Alyssa Wade a lot of people in my life that helped me with that. And I also started physical training. So I did physical training in Fresno with a bunch of trainers. I had multiple trainers. I had Jason Beard, I had Maria, I had Kyle, and I saw them. I was doing physical training 5 days a week and doing, massage therapy twice a week. So I was getting my body prepared because I felt like if I felt confidence in myself, I could go in there and I could be able to compete again. And so around my senior year was when I decided I wanted to be the professional. And for me, knowing that I can make a difference in somebody's life, I thought was there's no better, I think, gift than that. And so, especially with golf. So my senior year is when I decided, I want to do the PGA. I want to get into it. I want to pass my PAT and I want to, start getting the ball rolling. And that's when I ended up getting the job at Monterey. So it was just perfect timing at that point.
So you talked about the playing ability test. Is that the main way someone becomes a PGA professional, or are there other ways someone becomes a PGA professional?
Yeah, so there's two different ways you can do it. So I
Okay.
I went through the PGA of America, so it's 3 levels. I'm currently on my level 3, so I'm super proud of myself for we're moving pretty quick with that. Especially with COVID kind of threw a wrench in my timeline of things to get done. So how I did it is you have to enroll, background test. Do you work at a PGA facility? You have to take the playing ability test. It's always the first step. Then you take like a 50 question about the PGA of America. Then you start getting started into there. Then you're in level 1. So they call the PAT like the qualifying level. So that's you to get into the PGA. Not everyone can get into it. So I think that's important to note. So do you have a degree? All that stuff. The other way you could do it is some people go to a university or a college and major in PGA business and get a degree that way. So Ferris State is very popular that they have a PGA program. So when you graduate, you're a full PGA. So there are some universities that do it, but there's not as many as people think. I think there's probably only, I want to say 10, but I'm not 100% sure, but it's a really low number. I know UNLV has it, Ferris State, New Mexico State. So there's some universities that have it, but it was not very popular when I was there. So there wasn't as much as there is now. So it's kind of how you get started into it.
Yeah. So in addition to being a PGA pro, you're also the head girls golf coach at Palm Desert High School. How did you end up as the head coach at Palm Desert High School? And also, what is it like for you to be the head coach at Palm Desert, especially considering you went to La Quinta and you were focused your whole high school career on competing against Palm Desert?
Yeah. There was nobody when I was in high school, there was nobody that hated Palm Desert much as I did. I mean, we hated Palm Desert. I mean, I'll tell you that. There nobody Mackenzie Rame, who I've known forever, who went to Palm Desert, I went to La Quinta, she will tell you there's nobody that hated Palm Desert more than I did. So when I ended up graduating, my mom posted on Facebook that I was graduating and moving back home to the desert, and I saw a rumor, like I heard a rumor that the head coach at Palm Desert was retiring. I was like, oh, that's interesting, that he's retiring and blah, blah, blah. And I was talking to my mom about it, and she goes, what do you think about applying for that? I'm like, I started laughing. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to coach for Palm Desert. Like, I hate them. I went to La Quinta. Like, absolutely not, and I thought about it, and luckily, because my mom is very high up in the school district, she knew a lot of people who have known me since my high school principals and counselors worked in the district, and so they knew my mom and they knew me, and so uh, I ended up going in for an interview, and I know they had tons of applications. I knew they had tons, and here I am out of college, 21 years old, and think coaching for Palm Desert. It was definitely, I got a lot of pushback from that coaching for Palm Desert. I mean, I got people were saying horrible things about me on the internet. People that were really close friends of mine kind of cut me off. And it's like, well, how can you do this? You're a traitor. I mean, it was like really bad. Like it was insane. But for me, my mentality was, my coach that I had to coach me for at La Quinta, Joe Simons, who I worked with, personally as a personal coach, and he's a PGA pro. The impact that he had on my life, I wanted to have that impact on somebody that I coached. That's why I decided to do it. Not so much as, how much because they were a dominant team. They've won CIF titles. They've been undefeated for 25 years. I mean, it was a lot of pressure. And I went in it with mentality, I can change somebody's life. And I thought that was truly inspiring. And that's why I decided to do it. Of course, I was very hesitant because I was just like, I can't coach for Palm Desert. Like I went to La Quinta, like I'm a Blackhawk. Like, we hate Palm Desert. But I went into it with an open mind. Like I want to change somebody's life and I want to make a difference for these girls. And that's why I ended up doing it. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit more about the dominance of Palm Desert High School golf? Like you said, your team has been, had 3 consecutive undefeated seasons. So can you tell me about the dominance of Palm Desert High School golf?
Yeah, so Palm Desert has always been dominant in basically any sport they've done.
Okay.
Before I got there, they were 22 years, 23 years undefeated. They never lost a league match. So when I coached for Palm Desert, I didn't realize how much pressure there was on you because there are people watching you like a hawk. Like they want you to mess up. They were out to get you. And so that for me was really hard to navigate because I wasn't used to that kind of pressure when I went to La Quinta. So I learned that very quickly that there are people out there that they're watching you like a hawk, and it was really hard for me to kind of navigate that. I still have problems. I still have problems doing that even now, being my 5th year. There's still a lot of pressure and people watching you and wanting to get in your head. So there was a lot of different things I had to kind of navigate. But for me, when we got into COVID, was difficult because I only had 5 girls on the team. And it was, I mean, I had 2 girls Amy and Haley, who are dominant. They now play college golf. And I had 3 freshmen who have never played golf before, never been on a golf course. So when you go to having people that are dominant playing college golf to having 3 people who never played, the world turned upside down. Like it was totally different than what I'm used to. So not only am I new at coaching at this point, it's my 2nd year. Now I'm having to navigate with, now I have to teach people how to play golf. And that's not how usually coaching is. So that was really different for me. So we ended up losing 4 league matches that year because I only had 5 kids. And so that was a lot of media information and people, it was posted everywhere. La Quinta, like Palm Desert loses first league match in 23 years. I mean, it was horrible. And some things I learned that I can't control. That I cannot control having 5 kids. It was COVID year. It wasn't anything I could control. So I decided to take it with a grain of salt. You know what? I have 5 kids that want to compete, and I'm going to help them get better. And those 3 kids that I coached their freshman year, they're graduating this year, and they're some of the best kids we have on the golf team. And so I kind of took it with something negative, making it positive, but also with the pressure of Palm Desert itself is extremely difficult. And I'm lucky I have an amazing assistant coach my first year of coaching, who ended up passing away. Was amazing friend of mine. He was great. The girls loved him. And the last 2 years I've had Garrett Athen be my assistant coach, who was way more than assistant coach in my opinion, who really, really helps me feel like I can take the pressure off myself, and he has my back, and he's learning the pressure of Palm Desert too. So it's you're constantly learning and coaching. It's not my coaching way of Palm Desert dominance is not the same as it was my first year. So my first year, everyone knew we were good. Okay. Now the last 2 years, people want to beat us. It's a whole different mentality. So my coaching style also changes as well with that. So for me, being able to navigate, okay, we go to Palm Desert. Now people want to beat us, and I never had that feeling before because people knew we were good, and now it just totally switched. So my coaching style changed because of that. The girls felt the pressure because the last 2 years we had schools that were really close to beating us, and the girls realized, oh, just because we're good doesn't mean we're going to win. So it changes their mentality too. But I think with the Palm Desert dominance, it's always been there, but now growing the game the last couple of years, there's really good freshmen at other schools that I wish were playing for me, but they're playing for other schools. And, they're motivating their team to beat us, which I think is great for the game of golf because it grows the game. But, it also puts more pressure on me to be able to take what I have and make them better and help them have confidence in themselves to win. And so it really changes your coaching strategy, especially with the dominance of Palm Desert. That pressure it can be coaching is something you're still learning to navigate, even my 5th year of coaching.
So finally, I want to touch on, growing the game of golf. So, you've interned with the Junior Golf Tour, Future Champions Golf. So can you tell me about your time interning with that tour? And also, how do you think we can get more juniors playing, especially since you're someone, who interned with a junior tour, and also you're a PGA pro and a high school coach? How can we get more juniors playing golf?
Yeah. So when I was my summers and winter times in between Fresno, I got an offer to work for Future Champions Golf, who's one of the top programs for tournaments, for junior tournaments. And I ended up playing with, getting up to meet with other girls that play college golf all across the country. So again, small business, how it works. And that really taught me how to run tournaments and kind of get my foot in the door with tournament, like running tournaments, but also helps me as like an all with my everyday life. And that's thanks to one of my really good friends, Marani, who is amazing at running tournaments. She's taught me everything. So that helped me with organization, planning, all the behind the scenes in the tournaments, she's taught me. So she's helped me with that through Future Champions. So and I think it's great that college players are involved with that, because that is one way how to grow the game. If you have these girls who want to play college golf, and they're meeting people who do play college golf to help them and answer questions, and I think that's great for growing the game. I will say, looking at it from the desert point of view, growing the game has really involved the last 2 years. Like I said, when I first coached, everyone knew we were going to win. That was a fact. Now people want to beat us because they're motivating themselves and the talent's becoming better. I also think that how to grow the game of golf is, again, it really comes down to the coaches, because we do play a really big important role in the kids' lives. And are they playing golf for the right reasons? That's something I I always ask when we have parent meetings. When this year we have 21 girls on our golf team. It's a big golf team for high school. And one of the things I sat there and I said, look, I said, if you want to be here, great. If you don't want to be here, it will not hurt my feelings. And I think the kids need to decide this is something I want to do, not my parents making me do it, or my brother's making me do it, or my sister did it, but I want to do it. And I think that's going to help grow the game. So, and making it feel like this is their sport, making them feel involved, and that, golf is something that will stay with you for the rest of your life, no matter what you do. And so for me, when I look at it as a coaching aspect of how to grow the game, it starts with the kids. Do they want to be there? Make it fun for them. I mean, the reason why we are so dominant for Palm Desert is because there's nobody that is as tight knit group as we are. We want to win for each other. There's not one person's good. It's all of us are good. And to win a team championship, it's all of us. So I think making golf, taking it away from, it is an individual sport, but turning it into more of a team aspect, I think that's where people really have a different viewpoint of golf. So PGA Junior League, that's really, growing up and growing the game. That's a great way for people to get started because it shows them team dynamic. They get to meet friends and they get to do travel to different golf courses. That's what keeps people interested, not making them do 103 footers and 120 degrees. That's not gonna make them love golf, So I think there's many ways on how to grow it, but I think it starts with the coaches and being able to make them love the game, and you can't force that. They either love the game or they don't, but my job is how can I help them love the game? And how my kids love the game is because of the program and our culture on the team and how we have each other's backs and we are a unit and we trust each other. That's why my kids love the game. And I think other programs, either college, high school, if they have after school programs, that's what they need to get, because if the kids have fun, they will play better because they play better when they have fun and they take the pressure off of them. So I think there's many ways to do it, but it really starts with the coaches 100%.